to my channel. Today we are going to learn how to make this beautiful granny stitch top decorated with daisy flowers. So if you guys have already watched the top tutorial, you can skip ahead and go onto the flower part, but if you haven't yet, we can begin from right from the very first minute. So let's just dive right in. This top can be matched with the granny fringe skirt. We already have a tutorial for that. We already have a matching pair of shorts that we can pair up with our granny top, and I'll be leaving some of the photos on the screen for you guys to see. We already have tutorials for both those two pieces, and yeah, if you would like to give them a try after this, I'll be leaving all the links for you in the description box below. So the first version of this top didn't have the flowers, and I thought it would be a very good idea to just add a little bit of spice and life to this granny top, because I found it a little bit on the plain side. So this has brought life to it, and I feel like I'm more attached to this than the plain one. So let me know in the comment section what you prefer, and let's jump into the video. This already has a written pattern as well, so you can purchase both patterns on my online shops. And for this project, you will need yarn. For the yarn, I am using Winter King, which is a DK weight yarn. And I think, just to be on a safe side, you just need 3 balls of this if you're using the same exact yarn. This yarn is 150 yards, and I needed about 1.5 balls. But just to be on a safe side, just have 3 balls of 150 or 500 yards of yarn, and you'll be able to make this top comfortably well, plus excess in case you need to make another extra project with the remaining yarn. So let's jump into the video. So the hook that I'll be using today is a 4mm crochet hook. You also need a darning needle to weave in your ends and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. I'll be explaining this top for size extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, and XXL, which is 2XL. So let's jump into the video and learn how to make this beautiful and easy fringe top. So for this project, we're going to work from the center of our top and then build outwards to create coverage for our bust. So let's grab our yarn. So for the yarn, you're going to grab your yarn and your hook, and you're going to make a slip knot. So those who don't know how to make a slip knot, you're going to just cross over like this, so that your tail is on this side. So we create that ribbon-like shape, and we are going to yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through, and then pull on this tail. Now we're going to make a chain of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So once you have your 5 chains, you're going to go into the very first chain that you made with a double crochet. So this one. And you're going to make 1 double crochet into it. And then make 2 more double crochets. So that makes it a total of 3 double crochets. Like that. You'll have something that looks like this. And then you're going to make a chain of 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain. 1, 2, and 3. So this is what you'll have. Now you're going to chain 1 and place 1 more double crochet into the same exact chain. So let's see what we have right now. We have the chain of 4 here, and then we have the 3 double crochets, the chain 2, the 3 double crochets here, and then 1 more double crochet here. And now we have a chain 1 space at this point, but this side we have a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1, meaning that we've balanced both sides on this side and on this side. Let's go on to row 2. This marks the end of row 1. Row 2 is a chain of 4, And the chain of 4 always counts as a double crochet. Chain 1, turn your work. When you turn your work, you're going to have a chain 1 space here, so you're going to go into it with 3 double crochets. And then you're going to chain 1. This is a chain 2 space, and each chain 2 space gets a shell. A shell for this pattern is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So let's go ahead and do that. After your chain of 1 here, you're going to prepare for a double crochet and place a total of 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 space. 1, 2, and 3. So we've placed a shell into the chain 2 space. After this, you're going to chain 1 and place into the chain 4 space here, which counts as a double crochet. Chain 1. You're going to go into that space here. After the 3 double crochets here, you're going to go into that space and place a total of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. After your 3 double crochets, you're going to chain 1 and place 1 more double crochet into the same space. So we have balanced what's on this side onto what's on this side. So let's go on to row 3. The row starts with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet. Chain 1, turn your work. Into the very first chain 1 space, which is this one, you're placing 3 double crochets. And then you're going to chain 1. This is a chain 1 space. Each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets, unless stated otherwise. Because there are some parts of this pattern that you get to, and these instructions don't apply to it. So after your 3 double crochets here, you're going to chain 1, and into the chain 2 space, which is the tip of the triangle, you can see the triangular shape. Into the tip of the triangle, you're going to place a shell, so into the chain 2 space. So a shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So after this, you're going to chain 1. Each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets. So go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1. Into the last chain 4 space, we place 3 double crochets. Chain 1. And 1 more double crochet into the same space, just to balance what we had at the beginning of the row. Remember, we start with a chain of 4. So if we place 1 chain and 1 double crochet, that counts as 1 double crochet chain 1. And the chain of 4 also counts as a double crochet chain 1. So that's why we end our row like this. I hope everything makes sense at this point. If you're getting value from this video, and if you're liking how your project is coming together, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. So let's go on to row 4. Row 4 is going to start just as usual as the other rows. So you're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work. Into the first chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. Like that. After this, you're going to chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, which is this one, with 3 double crochets. Chain 1. This is a chain 2 space, and it's the top of the triangle, so you place a shell there. So 3 double crochets. Chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the same space. And after this, we're just going to mirror exactly what we have on this side. So chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space, which is this one, and place 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. And after this, you're going to chain 1 and into the chain 4 space, which is this one, after the 3 double crochets here, you're going to go in there with 3 double crochets. And since this is the end of the row, I told you after your 3 double crochets, you will chain 1 and then go into the same space with 1 more double crochet to balance what we have at the beginning of the row. So look what we have. If you're a bit lost and maybe your work is not balancing out, you can count the number of groups of double crochets. The groups of 3 double crochets that you have on each side, they should be the same. So for example, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on this side, this is the exact middle of the triangle. So on this side, we also have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you have the same number, that means the triangle is building up in a balanced way. So let's go on to row 5. We are basically doing the same exact thing. So I'll speed through this one. Chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1. And then into the first chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. This is the last row of demonstration. So chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Now we've reached the chain 2 space. You can see the next space is a chain 2 space. So you're going to chain 1 and go into that chain 2 space with a shell, which is 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same space. Now once you're done with this, you're going to just go all the way down, doing the same exact thing. Just mirror what you have on this side. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1 and into the chain 4 space after the 3 double crochets, you're going to place 3 double crochets. Chain 1 and 1 more double crochet into the same space to balance what we started with at the beginning of the row. So this is what your work should look like at this point. Now, once you get to this level, I have my measuring tape with me. At this point, I have about 4 inches in the middle of the triangle. And then the base measures about 7 inches when I'm not stretching it. So this is 4 by 7 inches. So once you get to that measurement, it's time to do something different. Just assume you used a different hook and yarn and you're trying to achieve the same exact look. Maybe your stitches are either tighter or looser. Maybe your piece is bigger or smaller. Just work until you have 7 inches at the base of the triangle, and then 4 inches height of the triangle. And we're going to start doing something totally different. So this is row 6. If you're following the same exact measurements as mine, and if you're getting the same measurements as me. So row 6, you're going to place, you're going to start off with a chain of 4, just like we've been doing for the previous rows. and this counts as a double crochet chain 1. After this, you're going to go into the very first chain 1 space, and you're going to place a total of 3 double crochets. After this, you're going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way up until you get to a point where your next space is a chain 2. So until this level. Once you get to this level, you're going to chain 1 and go into the chain 2 space with only 1 double crochet. Like that. And this is what you'll have. Now, this marks the end of row 6. Yes, row 6. Now, row 7, we're going to first work on this side, and then we shall create coverage for the opposite side as well later on. But for now, we're going to first work on this side where we are at the moment. So, let's go on to row 7. You're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work. Go into the very first chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. Like that. And then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So we go back to the pattern itself. Just keep chaining 1 and 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space all the way down until you get to the end of the row. Where you will place, so we've come to the end of the row here, and you're going to chain 1, and into the chain 4 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So this brings us back to the pattern, just like we've been doing at the end of each and every row. So the fact that we are at the base of the triangle and we don't want to distort this shape, this has to remain a straight line. Keep that in mind. So whatever you do at these ends remains the same. The way you start here and the way you end your rows that end at the base of the triangle, everything remains the same. So let's go on to row 8 and see what we have. You're going to, the fact that we're at the base of the triangle, we're going to start off with a chain of 4, just like we've been doing for the plain triangle before we started creating the extensions. So chain 4, go into the first chain 1 space and place 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way up. Chain 1, 3 double crochets. So keep repeating this until you get to the second last here, somewhere here, and I'll show you how to wind up your row. This is row 8, guys. If you're following the same exact instructions as mine, you should be on the same row. So for row 8, when we are coming to the end of the row, as you can see here, we're going to chain 1 after our 3 double crochets here in the last chain 1 space. You're going to chain 1 and skip over the next 3 double crochets, and into the chain 4 space, you're only going to place a total of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and that's it for row 8. This marks the end of row 8. Now let's go on to row 9. Row 9, you're going to make a chain of 4, turn your work, and you're going to skip over the next 2 stitches, so this one, and go into the chain 1 space and place a total of 3 double crochets. So you can see something very similar to row 1. The only difference is for row 1, we were working from the base of the triangle coming all the way up to the middle of the triangle. But remember I told you the chain 4 counts as a double crochet chain 1. And when we have a double crochet here and a chain 1, that resembles what we have here, which is a chain 4. So you're going to make your chain of 4, double crochet 3 times into the next chain 1 space, and continue to work your row all the way down. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, so we have worked so many granny stitch projects, and I'll be leaving a link for you guys in the description box below so that you can give a try to all the granny stitch projects that we've tried out ever since the beginning of this YouTube channel. So if you like the granny stitch, don't hesitate to tap on that link because there are so many projects waiting for you. Dresses, bags, skirts, shorts, rompers, literally everything I have worked in this stitch. So after this, when you come to the end, you're going to chain 1, and into the chain 4 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space. So this brings us to the end of row 9. This is row 9. Now let's go on to row 10. Row 10 starts the same exact way. The fact that we are at the base of the triangle, you're going to make a chain of 4. Turn your work. Go into the first chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets. And after this, you're going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. This is now a walkover for you guys. So just continue all the way up until you get to this chain 1 space, this one here. And I'll show you how to wind up your row when you get to the end of the row 10. So all right, so we're coming to the end of row 10. And as I told you, row 9 resembles row 1 just because of this space of the chain 4 and the chain 1, 1 double crochet, which translates to a chain 4. So now you'd look at the next row, which is row 2, and see exactly how row 2 ended at this point. So we have 3 double crochets here and a chain of 4. So we're going to imitate the same exact thing. So chain 1, and then place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same exact space. And you can see we have the same thing going on here at row 2 and at row 10. If you can relate the whole theory that I've been explaining from the beginning of the tutorial, you can relate that row 2 is literally row 10. The only difference is they're facing opposite directions. Row 2 was worked from top to bottom, and row 10 is worked from bottom to top, but they look the same. So let's go on to row 11. Let's look at the next row, which is row 3. We see that row 3 ends with 3 double crochets into the chain 4 space, and that's exactly what we want to emulate when it comes to row 11. So I'm saying row 3 because I'm excluding these rows here. When I say row 1, row 2, it means row 2 of the extension. So I hope I'm not confusing you when it comes to the rows. So row 11 is going to be row 3 of the extension, which is this one. So we have row 1, row 2, and row 3 of the extension. So let's do our chain of 3, turn our work, and then place 2 more double crochets into the chain 1 space. All right, so this is what we have, and you can see from the 3 double crochets you jump right into the pattern. So chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and go all the way down and complete your row as usual. This will be row 11. So at the end of row 11, you're going to have something that looks like this. Exactly. So you can see how the coverage is being created, the bust coverage. And at this point, you don't have to worry about the sides because we are creating a coverage this side as well as the shaping of the neckline. So let's go on to row 12. The fact that we are coming from the base of the triangle all the way up, you are going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work and place 3 double crochets into the very first chain 1 space. Then go on to repeat the pattern until you place 3 double crochets into the second last chain 1 space, which is this one, or the chain 1 space closest to the edge, and I'll show you how to wind up your row 12. All right, so I'm placing my 3 double crochets into this last chain 1 space. And now this row, if you don't want to relate rows that don't start from the same end, this is your chance. This row is literally row 1 of the extension, and you can see that chain 1 space. So we are at that point where we have to create that chain 1 space or the chain 4 space on the edge, but facing the same exact direction as row 1 of the extension, or row 6 of our top right from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 6 is the one that ended like this. So from here, you're going to chain 1 and skip over 2 stitches and go into the very last stitch. On top of it with 1 double crochet, and that will create that hole here. We can see it at row 1 of the extension, row 3 of the extension, and row 12. Is it? 1, 3, 1. You can see it at row 1, at row 4, and at row 7. So you just look below and try to follow the sequence. That means on row 13, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work. But when you look down here, after that space, the next row has a chain of 4 and then 3 double crochets. You can see that. So instead of chain of 3, you're going to make a chain of 4 like that, and then go into the chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. So that will create a resemblance between this row and the row here. There are only 3 rows that you have to repeat. The one that creates a hole here, the one that starts with a chain of 4 and 3 more double crochets into the chain 1 space, and then the one that ends with 3 double crochets. So those are the only 3 rows that you have to keep repeating. So I hope I'm explaining it right, guys. I don't want to confuse you guys. I'm trying my best. I'll have a written pattern as well. So for those who are confused, you can purchase the pattern. I'll be explaining everything there as well. So the moment you figure out how to work on the neckline shaping, whether when coming from the base of the triangle upwards or coming from the neckline downwards, the moment you figure out what to do, this will be a walkover for you. So you're just going to keep repeating those rows. There are only 3 rows that you have to follow to figure out exactly what to do. You're going to keep working until you get enough coverage for your bust area. But remember, when it comes to the base of the triangle, nothing changes. As you can see, we are maintaining this and keeping it flat. So let me just go ahead and keep working my rows. I'll meet you back when I have enough coverage for my first side coverage. Alright guys, so I went ahead to do a total of 13 rows for a size small. If you're a size medium, you're going to consider 15 rows, large 17, and extra large 19 rows. So the rows that I'm talking about are these ones from this very first one that comes from the triangular shape. There's this row that we did in the beginning. That one that stopped in the middle. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I have 13 rows for size small. If you're extra small, you may consider 13 or 11 rows. That's for XXS. But I guess this will do for an extra small to small. This will be enough. So when you're done with this, you're going to just chain 1 and cut your yarn, or you can go ahead and do your strap immediately. So I'm not going to do that right now because I think I need to add an edging later on. So I'm going to just chain 1 and cut my yarn, pull through, and now we're going to attach onto the other side of the triangle. So what I'm going to do is turn my work to this side like this, and I'm going to start from the base here, just like we did this row from here all the way up. So we're going to attach our yarn into the chain 4 space like this, and then you're going to make a chain of 4, and then place a total of 3 double crochets into that same space. So you can notice that at the base, everything remains the same. The changes come in when we are working this edge. So from here, you're going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So we are repeating that until we get to the top of the triangle. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, chain 1, and now we are at the top of the triangle, as you can see here. So what we are going to do is just replicate the same exact process as we did for the first side. So if you don't know exactly what to do, you're going to just rewind the video. So let me just walk you through the first steps. So after your chain of 1 here, you're going to go into the top of the triangle and you're going to place 1 double crochet. And you can see that hole being created on this side as well. So you see that hole? this one and this one. So we are just matching exactly what's on this side onto this side. So let's go onto row 2. Row 2 should resemble this row here. After the hole, there's that row there. So you're going to chain 4, turn your work. This is because for row 2 on this side, we started with a chain of 4. So just look what you did on this side and do the same thing. So you're going to place 3 double crochets into the very first chain 1 space, like that. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and everything else remains the same. Everything else remains the same. All right, so we are coming to the end of the row, and we are placing a chain 1, and into the very last chain 4 space, we are going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 1 more double crochet into the same space, just to make sure that the base is flat. So let's go on to row 3. You're going to chain 4, turn your work, and you're going to make 3 double crochets into the very first chain 1 space, like that. And then you're going to chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way up. All right, so when you have 1 space left, which is the chain 4 space here on your row, you're going to just look on this side and see exactly what you did. You can see row 3 starts with only 3 double crochets. So that means you're going to chain 1, and into the chain 4 space, you're going to only place 3 double crochets just to balance what we did on the opposite side. All right, so you can see what this is creating. 3 double crochets here, and we have 3 double crochets here on the edge. So let's see the next row, which is this one. We start off with a chain of 4. We start with a chain of 4 and then go all the way down. Then we skip over the 3 double crochets, as you can see here. So for the next row, you're going to just chain 4, turn your work, skip the double crochets here and go into the chain 1 space. So the moment you finish the first side, that means you've figured out how to work this pattern. You don't even have to think about it. You just have to look this side and see exactly what you did on this side and just replicate the same exact thing on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and work our second side and finish it up. And I'll meet you guys back when I have my second side ready up to 13 rows, or the number of rows that you needed for your size. Alright guys, so I am done with the second side, as you can see here, and I'm going to chain one and cut my yarn. Now you can do the strap there and then if you don't want an edging for your top. At this point we're just going to fold over like this, and we shall have straps at this point and at this point, at this point and at this point. But I think I'm going to do some edging when it comes to the side edge of the top, because I just don't like the way it looks like at the moment. So you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to attach in one of the corners. We're going to do a total of 2 rows. So make sure you identify the right side of your work. Start from the wrong side actually. Just place your work on the wrong side. Both sides are going to look the same. So you're going to just go into one of the corners, one of the side corners, chain one, and now you're going to start placing 1 single crochet into each and every double crochet and into each and every chain one space. So make sure you do that. All right, so I'm going to go all the way up until the top of the first side of the top, and I'm placing 1 single crochet into each and every double crochet and into each and every chain one space. So just go all the way up. So you can see how the edging is making everything neat. So when you get to the top here, into this space, you're going to place a total of 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to place 1 more single crochet into the same exact space. So 1 more single crochet. So that means this space has received a total of 4 single crochets. Now into each and every row here, we're going to place 2 single crochets into each row. 1 and 2. And then you go to the next row. 1, 2. And repeat that all the way down. So we are going all the way down to the center of the top. And now we are done with the edging on this side, as well as the edging on this side. So let's cross over to the opposite side. Now you're going to place only 1 single crochet into the top of the first triangle that we created before creating the side extensions. So only 1 single crochet there. And then you're going to place 2 single crochets into each and every row, all the way up, just like we've done for this edge, the inner edge. So we've come to the very last space here, and we're going to place a total of 4 single crochets, just like we did for this space here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 single crochets. And look what we have, guys. I think this is looking much more beautiful than what we had before. So we are now going to go all the way down, placing 1 single crochet into each double crochet and 1 single crochet into each chain 1 space. Okay guys, we have made it all the way to the end, and I've placed my last single crochet into the chain 1 space. And this is what we have. We're going to go 1 more row of single crochets just to clean up the edges, just these wobbly edges. So I'm going to just chain 1 and go back all the way from here, all the way to down here, to up here, and all the way to down here. So just place a single crochet in each and every single crochet. And at this point, if you want to create your straps as you go, I'll show you how to do that when we get to this point. Alright, when you get to the top here and you feel like creating your straps, you can go ahead and make the chain of the straps that you want. Maybe a chain of 150 and go back on it with a single crochet. So I think we shall do that. Just make a chain, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I ended up doing a total of 120 chains just because I'm going to have a strap at the base as well. I'm not going to use these same straps to do the X at the back like we usually do for our tops. So I've done a total of 120 chains, and you're going to go back on it with slip stitches. So insert your hook, pull through all, just to make it more strong and firm. So just go back on it with 1 slip stitch into each and every chain. So you can see the body that we are creating for our strap right now. So go all the way back to the body of the top. I'll meet you guys back when I'm here. So we are just creating a firm body for our strap right now. Alright, so when you make it all the way back to the body of the top, this is what your strap will look like. Now you're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the next single crochets all the way down. So we are back to the edge of the top. So just go all the way down and you can see what that has created. Now the side where you're working this row, the single crochet row for the second row of single crochets, this will be the right side of your work. And you can see it's neater than this. I don't want the wrong side of the final row to be the right side of my work. So this will be the right side of my work. You're going to go all the way down, all the way up here. Do the same thing, make your strap. If you had a total of 120 chains just like me, you're going to make your 120 chains, go back on it with single crochets, and come back placing 1 single crochet into each and every single crochet on this side. And I'll meet you back at this point. Okay guys, here we are with both sides finished. All the edgings are finished, and I've ended on this side. So after your very last single crochet on this side, after your last single crochet here, you're now going to turn your work onto the base of the triangles. These are our two triangles that create the bra coverage, the bust coverage. So you're going to chain one, go into this very first row with one single crochet, go into the next row of single crochet with one single crochet, and now you're going to go all the way across, placing 2 single crochets in each and every row. So each double crochet space gets 2 single crochets, and go all the way across like that. Alright, so when you make it all the way across, you're going to place 1 single crochet into the first single crochet row and 1 single crochet into the very last single crochet row. And this is it. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to cut your yarn. So now we're going to start creating our fringes for the top, and you're going to be attaching them at the base of the top. So just make your top face the right side. And that's the side where we have worked our single crochet row. So you're going to get strands of about your elbow to wrist length. So look what I'm doing. I'm just wrapping around like this, and then like that, all the way at the back of my elbow, while my hand is folded. You can see that? And we are creating the fringes. So just do as many strands as you need for your fringes. This is just a sample, so after that you're going to just cut here, and you're going to have something that's like this. You're now going to get a total of 5 strands. 5 strands at a go. If you feel like this fringe is quite long for you, you can feel free to divide it into half. Then your fringe is going to be this long. I think I'm going to do that. I feel like this fringe is too long, so I'll have the shorter fringe. So get 5 strands of the strings, and then grab your hook, and you're going to start attaching right from the middle. I'll start from the exact middle. Just get the middle single crochet and then pull through, and then pull through like this. So let me do that again. You have 5 strands, fold them to create this loop like this. Make sure they're even. Then skip 1, 2, 3, 4 or 3 stitches. I don't know how close you want your fringes to be, but I've skipped 3 stitches there. Go in from the back of the stitch all the way up, and then grab this loop that you created, pull through. You'll create a loop here like this, and then get your hook and pull through these strands that you left behind like that. And then this will create a knot at this point. So go all the way across. Guys, it has started raining, so yeah, just go all the way across doing this. Okay guys, so after your fringe, you're going to attach 1 strap on this side. You're going to just attach your yarn and make a plain chain, or you can also choose to go back on it using a single crochet stitch or a slip stitch, just like we did for the upper straps. And then you're going to do that on the opposite side as well. As you can see here, I've just done a plain chain to just get done with the tutorial, but if you have time, just go back on it using a slip stitch. And the next thing that you're going to do is get your darning needle and weave in all your tails, and your top is ready to wear. At this point, this is the back side of my work, and these straps are going to wrap around your rib cage like this. I'll be attaching a photo for you to see what it looks like at the back, like that. And then these ones are going to tie right behind your neck. So now we shall be attaching some flowers onto our top just to give it some more life and character. And this is me creating the flowers. So I'm going to teach you how to make these beautiful flowers so that we can attach them onto the top. The yarn that I'm using is Robin yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and I'm going to be using 2 strands of each color. So I'll be using a yellow and a white as the boundary color. So let's get started. The hook that I'll be using for this tutorial is a 3.75mm crochet hook, which is an F hook. And you're going to grab your yarn. Of course, you're going to need a pair of scissors and maybe a stitch marker if you feel like you need one, but that's optional. So let's get started. You're going to start off with a magic ring. So for a magic ring, you're going to put the tail in front of your fingers like this. And then you're going to wrap it around your 2 fingers and create an X sort of thing. So you're going to insert your hook. You can see this is the tail and this is the working yarn going to this side. So you're going to grab your hook, insert, and then pull this working yarn, and then hold here, and then remove your fingers. So you're going to chain 1. After a chain of 1, you'll have created a magic ring, and this is adjustable according to what size of the ring that you want. So you're going to make a chain of 3. The first chain of 1 doesn't count as a stitch. So the chain 3 that you have just made counts as a double crochet. So we're going to go into our magic ring with a total of 15 more double crochets to make a total of 16 double crochets, including the chain 3 as a double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the magic ring, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, like that. And then repeat this. Let me show you that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet in the US terms. So far we have 1, which is the chain 3, 2, 3, and 4. And we want a total of 16 double crochets. So continue to place 1 double crochet into the magic ring until you have a total of 16 double crochets total. So far I have a total of 16 double crochets, including the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. Now you're going to have to cross check. Maybe you count from the very last stitch you placed all the way back to the chain 3, or you start from the chain 3 all the way to the last stitch, so that you make sure you don't have any errors. So you're going to pull on the magic ring tail. So when you pull on this tail, you'll notice that you can adjust the magic ring until the middle space is totally closed up, as you can see here. Now we're going to wind up our first round with a slip stitch into the top chain of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So you're going to count from the base 1, 2, and 3, and into the top chain you're going to insert your hook and pull through all. So that is a slip stitch in the US terms. So after this you're going to chain 1 and you're going to cut your yarn. Oh my god, I don't know where I've placed my pair of scissors, but I'll just break the yarn. So when you cut your yarn here, you're going to just pull through this, and that will mark the end of round 1. You'll have something like this. Now we're going on to round 2, and round 2 is going to be worked with white color. And I'm going to use 2 strands just like I did for round 1. So you're going to start off with a slip knot. So for a slip knot, you're going to get the end of the end of the yarn and then twist it around like a ribbon, like this. And then insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, but don't let go of this hand, and yarn over, pull through. And then here you can let go of the tail of the yarn and then pull on the tail. So this will give you something that's adjustable, as you can see here. You can pull it up or close up the loop on the crochet hook. So we're going to attach our yarn. You can just maybe put the yarn through and then make a knot. You can attach your yarn in any way that's easy for you, but this is what's easy for me. So after making my slip knot, I'm going to attach my yarn into that stitch where I placed a slip stitch. So the very first stitch of round 1, which was the chain 3. You're going to insert your hook there and attach this second color. So I've chained 1 just to secure my yarn onto the second color. That doesn't count as a chain or a stitch or anything. It was just for attaching the second color. So you're going to make a chain of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. When you have your 7 chains, you're going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook. So we're counting from this one. 1, 2, and into the 3rd, which is this one. You're going to yarn over and place a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. Insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. I hope you still remember how to make a double crochet. So you're going to double crochet in each of the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This will bring us back to the body of the round 1. So after this, you have the chain 2 here at the beginning, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. So from here, you're going to skip the next stitch, which is this one, and then go into the next and place a slip stitch. So insert your hook, pull through all, and that's a slip stitch that has been created. This will create our very first petal. So let's go on to the next petal. You're going to make a chain of 7. Make sure your chains are not so tight because we're going to go back on them, placing stitches into them. So after a chain of 7, you're going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook with a double crochet. So we count from this one, 1, 2, and 3. The 3rd one is this one. So you're going to insert your hook after yarning over and place a double crochet and continue to double crochet all the way down, placing 1 double crochet in each of the next chains. Like that. And after this, you're going to skip the next stitch and go into the next with a slip stitch. And that creates our second petal. Let me show you one more time. You're going to make a chain of 7. Go into the 3rd chain from the hook with a double crochet and 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the moment you place your double crochet in the 4th, you're going to skip 1 stitch and then go into the next with 1 slip stitch. So that's how we create the petals. We are going to go all the way around. And at the end of this, you're going to have a total of 8 petals. So just keep working this again and again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let me just speed through this so that we can come to the end of the round, and I'll show you how to wind up your round. All right, now we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 petals. You should be left with only 1 stitch that's not worked into. So you're going to make your chain of 7. Remember, I told you our goal is to have a total of 8 petals. So make your chain of 7. That means this is the very last petal that we are working. So go into the 3rd chain from the hook with a double crochet, and then double crochet all the way down in each of the next 4 chains. And from here, you're going to skip the next stitch, which is the very last stitch, and go into that stitch where you attached your second color. For me, that was white. So into that stitch where you attached the white with a slip stitch, you're going to place a slip stitch into that space, like that. And then you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. I don't know where I placed my scissors, so sorry for breaking the yarn like this. But of course, if you're using cotton yarn, you can't break yarn like this because it will literally cut your fingers. So this is what you're going to have. So I've gotten a small pair of scissors that we can use for the demonstration. So after your slip stitch and chaining 1 and cutting your yarn, you're going to have a perfect daisy flower like this. And this, we're going to weave in all our tails. You can choose to use a darning needle. You can choose to just make a knot at the back. And for my case, I'm going to just make 2 knots at the back like that, and then get the next strand and make 2 knots as well. At this point, I'm very sure that these strands are secure enough. I can go ahead and cut them like that. All right, so you're going to make 2 identical flowers, leaving behind the middle loose end, that tail from the magic ring. You're not going to weave it in and cut it. You're going to leave it behind. Now you're going to locate where you want to attach your flowers. I've already marked those points when I was trying on the top. So I'm going to place my flowers like this. So make sure wherever you choose to place your flowers, it's at that point where you're covering your nipples, so that you can comfortably wear this top even if you don't put anything inside, especially for the smaller sizes. Now for the other sizes, you may consider lining your top or other options, for example, bra cups and all that. So you're going to get your loose tail. So for me, it's a blessing that I have 2 loose tails because I used 2 strands of yarn, and I'm going to pass one through here and the other one through the opposite end, skipping a few stitches in between, as you can see here. And then from here, I'm going to make a knot just to secure the placement of the flower. From here, I can cut this tail off after securing where the flower is going to be placed. And I'm going to do that on the opposite side as well. So You can either use your darning needle or just force the yarn through the different spots. Just make sure the placement of the flower is on the same level as the other one. So if you have only one strand, you're going to just consider maybe weaving in the tail into the stitches of the top so that you can secure the placement of the flower. Okay, let's see what we have. This is what we have, guys. And now, the next thing that you're going to do is to get a strand of the same color as the top, the background color. So for me, the background color of this piece is the mint green. And we are going to get different strands of yarn. We're going to cut different strands of yarn, short strands of yarn. And we need a total of 8 because we have a total of 8 petals for our flower. So since we have 2 flowers, we shall need a total of 16 strands of yarn of about 4 inches to 5 inches, or even less. Okay. And once you have these strands of yarn, this is what I have. Short strands of yarn that we are going to use to attach the flower onto the top. Now, you're going to stretch out your flower to your desired stretch, like this, and make sure it's placed the way you want it to be. Now, you're going to start attaching these strands. Now, you're going to go in, let me say the petal stretches up to this point. Now you're going to go from the back of the flower, get the very first stitch in between the first 2 stitches, pull the yarn through, and then skip like 1 stitch on this side, and then pull the second strand through. That way, this is going to give us 2 strands to tie at the back. And the moment you have that, you're going to just make a knot, a double knot or a triple knot to just make it secure enough. And then you cut. And this is what it has created, guys. Look at this. Now we're going to go ahead and make use of these strands that we cut earlier on. The same exact way, I'm just repeating the same exact process. Then turn my work onto the wrong side. Get the 2 strands and make a secure knot at the back. Okay, so go on doing this all the way around. Alright guys, so at the end of it, you're going to have something that looks like this. It's not perfect, but I think I tried my best to evenly distribute the petals around the circular motif. So you're going to just go ahead and do the same exact thing. You can see the difference between this and this. This one, the petals are curling onto the front, and this doesn't look very appealing unless this is the look that you're going for. So if this is not the look that you're going for, you're going to just repeat the same exact process that you did for this one, and I'll meet you back when I'm done with that. Alright guys, at the end of it all, this is what your top should look like. It's more colorful, more vibrant, it has more character to it, and that marks the end of this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you soon in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bells, because we are ready for our next tutorial, which is going to be this one. And I can't unleash it right now, but you'll be seeing it in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.